The large, well-known national parks like Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Arches are breathtaking, but can be crowded during the summer. There are smaller parks that are truly unique and filled with history. Often they are off the beaten path, on roads less traveled, but when you visit them, it feels like you're experiencing something very few people have. I'm spending a long weekend in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and decided to find more dirt and more distance in rural northwest Colorado and explore the Dinosaur National Monument. The Dinosaur National Monument is in the far northwest corner of Colorado and crosses over into Utah. The park is over 210,000 acres and is named after a large dinosaur fossil bed on the west side of the park in Utah. The Dinosaur Quarry looks awesome, but today I'm going to be exploring the east side of the park, which is the more scenic side. The Colorado section of the park has great views of the canyons carved out by the Yampa and Green rivers. Unfortunately, the visibility today is poor because of the forest fires raging throughout the west. It seems like this is going to be the new normal during the summer. The open space as far as the eye can see, sagebrush and scrub oak, remind me of images of the Wild West. I'm a Colorado native, but I've never ridden a horse, don't like country music, but I do like a good western. For example, Unforgiven, Pale Rider, and of course the best western ever made, Blazing Saddles. The plan is to enter the park from Moffat County Road 14. The road is 15 miles and is easy, with a few sandy areas. The road turns into Yampa Bench Road once you enter the park. The Yampa Bench Road is 18 miles long and travels above the Yampa River, with overlooks and trails to explore along the way. My ultimate destination is Echo Park, an area full of history and natural beauty. After traveling 15 miles across the dry and dusty terrain, I was about to enter the park, or so I thought. You gotta be freaking kidding me! So I get up here and the road is closed. That was definitely unexpected. But it is my fault because I went and checked everything out a few days before I was leaving. But of course, anything can happen. Conditions are constantly changing. So I should have checked one more time before I hit the road this morning. And I was like, well, I checked the website and I didn't see anything about a closure. So I pulled the site back up. And here's what it says. Due to significant damage, and this is a news release dated August the 4th, and I believe I checked everything out on August the 3rd. So on August the 4th, due to significant damage from a recent thunderstorm, the Yampa Bench Road in Dinosaur National Monument is closed from the monument's east boundary to the junction to Echo Park Road until further notice. So this is a lesson. Always check to see what's going on with the road, because you never know when conditions are changing. I checked, 3 or 4 days ahead of time when I was planning out all the final details. I should have looked this morning or last night to see if there have been any changes in the road conditions. So, lesson learned. And I have to decide if I'm going to try to go another route to get into the park or just take the L on the trip. I do not know. I'll get back out to the main road, see how much time I have, and then kind of make the decision from there. So I made it back to the road, and I kind of checked out Gaia and read a little bit more about the closure. And the next access point is about 30 miles down the road in the town of Dinosaur. So it's still early, it's only 10:15. So I'm not gonna take the L. I'm gonna roll with the punch and go down to this next access point and then get into the park and onto the trail on the shelf from there. So all the main things I wanted to see in the National Monument are still accessible for the most part. So just gonna make the best out of the situation and just learn from that. Remember, always check before you go, because conditions are constantly changing. But ultimately it's no big deal. Like I said, it's early in the day, so it adds a few more miles, a little bit more time, but I'll still be able to see what I want to see and get back to Steamboat before it gets too late. I'm gonna go get some gas, hit this next access point, and get into the park. I'm entering the park from Harpers Corner Road. It is a 31-mile paved road with several overlooks of the canyons carved out by the Yampa and Green rivers. My path may have changed, but my ultimate destination hasn't. From Harpers Corner, I turn right onto Echo Park Road. From this point on, I'm back on the dirt and begin the steep descent down to the river. The signs say the road is impassable when wet, but in these dry conditions, I cross paths with the minivan doing just fine. The road is by no means challenging, but the views as I enter Sand Canyon are an unexpected surprise. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you love exploring new places as much as I do. As the canyon walls recede, there appears to be nothing more than sagebrush ahead, but down the road is an amazing glimpse into the past. Even though smoke obscures the canyon walls in the distance, you can sense the power of nature and the people who lived here. The Fremont people roamed these lands for over 1,000 years, leaving behind images of humans and animals carved into the canyon walls. In the early 1900s, homesteaders used this remote and unforgiving land for ranching. The Chu family called this area home for several generations. It was an active ranch from 1900 to 1949, and the family remained on the land into the 1970s. I think these glimpses into the past are so fascinating. I love to explore them whenever I get a chance. Now this is the original overlanding vehicle. Rolling on 44s, that's hard to beat. Complete with kitchen, storage, and a bed. I couldn't imagine going to the bathroom in an outhouse. I don't know what I have to do, but the thing about coming out in the middle of the winter, it's dark, there's wild animals around, to use that bathroom incredible.
Whenever I see this stuff, it feels like it's ancient history, but in reality, it wasn't that long ago. The amount of progress made over the last 100 years is just mind-blowing. I've never seen petroglyphs like this before. They were kind of hard to see at first. There are so many things to see along the road. Next stop, Whispering Cave. I was curious how far it went, so I went back to the Gladiator and grabbed my flashlight.
Okay, it's getting tighter. Okay, apparently there's a bench back here or something, but it's getting tighter and tighter, so I'm not sure if it's a good idea to go back any further, especially since I am by myself. I guess I wouldn't say that I'm claustrophobic, but I do have common sense, and it's telling me that that's far enough for me today. Maybe if I come back, I'll cut back on the tacos and beer, and I'll be able to go even a little further. But I do not want to end up on the news. Man had to be rescued from the Whispering Cave because he got stuck.
Made it to Echo Park and Steamboat Rock, where the Green River and Yampa River meet. There is a campground here with facilities. I can only imagine how awesome the sunrises, sunsets, and night sky is in this remote location.
Is beautiful. The park is amazing, and in a funny way ended up working out that I didn't know that the road was closed, because if I would have saw last night that the road was closed and saw how much more out of the way I would have had to go, I probably would have said nah, not this time, and not gone out at all and just hung around in Steamboat, and I would have missed out on everything, because even with the smoke messing up the visibility, the road being closed, and all the extra miles I wasn't planning on doing, it ended up being worth it to get out to check out a new area, to check out a new trail, and to actually come out here and check out the Dinosaur National Monument. So I have no regrets about coming out here and making the trip, even though it did not go perfectly or as I had planned. It was still worth it, and I guess that's all just part of the experience when you get out there. Things aren't going to go how you expect it, but doesn't mean that it's not going to be still a really good time and a way to get out there and see something new. So it was a beautiful area. Definitely recommend coming out here if you're somehow end up being out in this particular general part of Colorado or even in Utah. Highly recommend it.